You know, they say that there's nothing new under the sun and that things repeat themselves and patterns come up again and again. Well, that's something that I've realized in my 10 or so years in and around the raw vegan movement and eating a raw food diet and a raw vegan diet and going to over 25, 26 big events around the world and putting on 7 festivals, coming up to 8 festivals, and a few other events outside of that, and meetup groups and all these things, and being around a lot of people and meeting a lot of people and having good fun in the raw vegan community and movement and with this diet and having great times and really loving it. But something that happens again and again, and I don't know how this can be stopped. This happens. This has been happening since I started doing this, and I'm sure it's been the same from the beginning. For some reason, this whole lifestyle thing is really appealing and attractive to people, and some people can build quite a following quickly. Well, why people are trying to build a following, I'm not sure. Why are people trying to build a following? But they maybe see someone online and they go, I'm going to do that, without really thinking through, like, is that what they want? Is that what they are really aiming for in life? Is it right for them? And on, right? So they see someone like Fully Raw Christina or something like that, and they go, I want to do that. I want to be like that person. And they go towards Raw and they're trying that out. And they start a channel or an Instagram page or a something that's got Raw or Fruitarian or Fruit something in the title. Um, and because they're talking about raw, because they're talking about raw vegan, because it's such a special kind of niche thing, they get a lot of attention and interest, which they wouldn't get if they called themselves Vegan John or whatever. Hey, I'm a vegan guy that eats pizza. Like they just wouldn't get that interest, I think. Um, and they might end up being really good at that, making videos and doing pictures and stuff, and they get this big following, and everyone's supporting them, and they're all of a sudden desperate to be like, they've got their book out, they've got their website up, they're trying to teach everyone and teach at festivals and teach at events and all that. And there's nothing wrong with any of that, really. I think it's some people do it way too fast. Like they try and do it all way too fast. But anyway, and then down the line they go, you know what? Um, this whole raw thing is like dogmatic. It's eating disorder. It's blah blah blah. I need to be kind to myself. I need to be loving to myself. And so if I eat cooked food once in a while, hey, it's not a big deal. And by the way, this is all code words for I eat vegan junk food every day, because that's what they've went back to. And no one is honest about that because they've built up a following and they can't admit that they don't have any control over their diet. And what they do is they start attacking the raw food movement and they say, look, all these people are lying. None of these people are raw. They're all lying to you anyway. Um, Cooked food's the same. Vegan food's the same. There's no difference to raw food. Like, okay, well, if that's all the case, why the hell did you try and build a whole following and channel around that concept? That's your fault if you don't understand all that or realize it. If you think it's all wrong, then you're wrong. You're the problem. And then a lot of them like changed their name. So obviously big examples, Raw Vanna, who's now no longer Raw Vanna, was caught eating fish and all that. Um, was probably eating fish for years and meat and everything for years before that all came out. Um, and then people go, see, all these raw foodists are all lying. It's like, no, Raw Vanna was lying. Ravana is the person that has the problem. Ravana wanted to be Christina. Ravana wanted to do all that without having like Christina wasn't online for the first 5 years that she was a raw vegan, as far as I'm aware. She didn't have a book. She wasn't. I don't think she had a book until a couple of years ago, like a proper book. Um, you know, had a co-op, not a YouTube business or a social media thing. She had a co-op, like a real in life person to person, actual get your hands dirty type business, not just an ebooks business, which is good as well. But just saying, uh, wasn't trying to be a coach and all that stuff, as far as I'm aware. So all I'm saying is understand. And also with her had been a mentee of John Rose, had been a mentee of Dr. Doug Graham, had spent the time learning the knowledge, the education, the understanding, and has continued to do that over the years. So if you're going to emulate a person, maybe you spend the first 5 years just being a raw vegan and enjoying it and learning how to do it and getting better at it and making sure you're comfortable with it. And someone came to me recently and they were asking some questions, and they were an Instagram person and they were doing well, and I was saying, listen, you can, there's no doubt, you keep doing what you're doing, you're a star, people are going to love you, you're going to get a lot of followers, and no doubt, no doubt. The question is, do you want to do this? Is this really what is right for you? Is this really the lifestyle that you want? Or are you doing it for some kind of short-term thing? So people are, and this is where you see people like changing their names. They're raw vegan this, but then they change to something else. They're raw food or whatever, then they change to something else. Fruitarian this, and then they change to something else. Because they're not like, that's not where they are yet. They're not that yet. But they did that jumping into this to build a following or whatever. Uh, and they got validation. And this is all like kind of immature, childish stuff. Then they want to judge everyone else who, when they start posting about cooked food, people are like, well, this isn't what we were following you for. And they're like, hey, well, that's your problem. You're a bad person. Your purity mindset is leading to people having eating disorders. Like, no, it's not. What do you mean purity mindset? I don't want to eat vegan pizza. I understand that some people do. I personally don't. Not because it doesn't taste good. I get it tastes good. I totally get it. I feel better after I eat bananas, surprisingly enough, than if I eat a vegan pizza from memory, which is a while back now. But I I know the difference is obvious. It's so clear. It's not like hey, just have a vegan pizza and you're good. I'm like, I don't want to waste 2 days. I'm not going to feel good the next day. And I'm going to make poor choices the next day again. That's a risk to me. Talking about restriction, I don't want to restrict my time like that. Raw vegan diet 100% really works for me. Now, what's the limitations to 100% for me? Like, I have pasteurized juice once in a while. I have dried fruit once in a while. I would have, if someone said to me, I cooked this banana, I wouldn't mind having it, tasting it. Like, it wouldn't bother me so much. And cooked fruit, like, wouldn't bother me. I don't cook fruit and I don't eat cooked fruit, but I'm just saying, if someone had some super dried, dehydrated or whatever, or freeze dried strawberries or something, it wouldn't bother me too much to eat it. Now, it's not something that I'm particularly seeking out, that I have all the time, that I see around much. But what I'm saying is, fruit in general of any form, I'm not too bothered about it. Um, I love the thing that I really love right now. The thing over the last few years, nightshades. I mean, I love tomatoes, right? but I don't have them anymore at the moment. And I love peppers, sweet peppers. I would eat them over any dried food, dehydrated food, gourmet raw. If I went to a gourmet raw restaurant and they could give me a plate of peppers, sweet peppers, I would have that over the raw vegan lasagna cheesecake thing, whatever. Personally, personally, I would enjoy that more um, as a kind of savoury type meal. And anyone that's been around me, that's when I was eating tomatoes, they'll know I would choose tomato like plum tomatoes. I would choose that over anything, virtually over any cooked food. I preferred it. I preferred it over any raw gourmet food. I don't like fatty foods. I don't like how once again, I don't like having raw gourmet fat. Like the fatty thing makes you feel fat in your system, feel kind of fat. Like I don't like that feeling. It tastes good. I totally agree. Tahini tastes good and all that. I just don't want it anymore. I don't want the after effect. That doesn't mean I won't have it once in a while, or I have those moments, or if some friends, if I go to Woodstock this year, New York, and we go to a raw food restaurant, I might have it. I might, but I've had it so many times. I'm like, man, I really don't like this anymore. It tastes great. I just don't like the after. I just don't like how I feel after. I'm like, that wasn't the best choice. I don't feel good after that. So the last 5 6 months and the last year, the last couple of years, my raw food diet has been fruit, fresh fruit, a little bit of juice, a little bit of smoothies. Well, smoothies more than juice. Banana smoothie if I'm having a smoothie often. Um, and salad, but that was often tomatoes and lettuce. And recently it's been peppers, which isn't really a salad, it's just a mono meal of peppers. But um, that's been my thing. And I really enjoy that and love it. I love the simplicity of my diet. I like feeling good. I don't feel like I'm not losing weight quickly. I've got some weight to lose. I could probably lose a stone comfortably. Um, and it's coming off slowly, but not quickly. But uh, I can easily just eat fruit and keep my weight on. I can put on weight just fruit. I mean, easily if you add more avocados, right? So if I cut down the avocados, and avocados only a couple a week at the moment if I have them. So to me, that's not restrictive. It's my lifestyle. I enjoy it. It's what I've refined over the years. It's something I personally worked on. I was not forced to do it. No one came along. I never had Doug Graham chasing me down saying, "Are you 100% raw?" I've never ever heard him ask me anything like that. It's never been a conversation topic. It's never been something that I've ever heard him ask virtually anyone about. Maybe one of his clients if it was that kind of setting. But not seeing this dogma and purity and this like, hey, you're not my friend if you're not 100% raw stuff. Like, I don't see that from anyone. All my and I love speaking with people who are 100% raw. I love that. I love those people. I don't think they're better human beings or better. I don't mean that, but there's people that I know have that commitment, that real commitment. They've really spent the time doing it. And a lot of them aren't on social and all that stuff. And to some degree, it's probably the people that get most excited about it are the new people. They are the people that want to get it out there. And the people that have been doing it for a long time are maybe not as bothered anymore. So it makes sense. But people build up these social profiles, and then it's a weird thing when, oh wait, I'm actually eating cooked food, and I don't really know how to eat raw. And I don't really understand the mindset and the motivation and the reasons and the feeling behind it and the experience behind it. You know? So I'm telling you, I love meeting people who are 100% raw. I love it. I love meeting people that are like fruit 100% raw. And when I sense that they're like a real one, they're not a kind of, I've been a fruitarian for a couple of months. This is so easy, amazing. I'm going to do this for life kind of person. Like, or people that have, yeah, and some people are right. Like, there's a lot of people like the people that are starting off, getting inspired, getting into, and building the social media stuff. They're often the ones that are like, yeah, I've got all these rules. I'm really strict. I never eat this, and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, yeah, well, if you're saying that you never have like you're 100% fruitarian or something, you never have salad. Like, I don't know. I mean, I get that you're going to make that choice maybe at some point, but if you're like a couple of weeks into the journey and you're saying that that's what you're doing for life, like you've not really, like you're not really there yet. You know, there's a good chance you're going to go back and do other things and eat other things and go back and forth. There's a period of time where people do a back and forth in an experiment, and some people are still on that experiment while they're promoting themselves as a raw vegan person, guru or whatever, and giving advice. And they're giving advice and they've not even come to a full conclusion on where their diet is. For me, raw vegan 100% is the end point of diet. I'm playing around with or experimenting with fruitarian 100% with no vegetables, with no, and I would like to go towards an experiment of sweet fruit only as well. But these are just experiments. These are not like major, like I'm setting my flag in the stand, like this is the right thing or not. 100% raw vegan for me, fruits, salads, low fat, 80 10 10. To me, that's the lifestyle I learned about 10 years ago. It's still the thing that's working today. It's every event I've been to, that's been the focus around it, 80 10 10, low fat, raw vegan. And it's been working and I'm feeling good and enjoying it. And but I totally know, I totally understand a lot of people don't can't do it, or and none of them are saying I can't do it. They're saying they're flexible, they're this, they're that, they are not restrictive, they're not dogmatic, the blah blah. You can't do it. I can't do it. I can't give up cooked food. It's so. I mean, people never want to say that. They want to blame the raw vegan lifestyle, the raw vegan diet, the raw vegan people. Everyone's lying to them. Some people are coming out with phrases now like heat processed foods, foods processed above 118 degrees. And they're like, what's the difference between a dehydrator and steaming your food anyway? Let me tell you the difference. Put your hand in a dehydrator at the highest setting and leave it there for hours. You'll still have a hand when you when you pull it out. At the highest setting on the dehydrator, whatever that is, 100 and whatever it is. Um, at least I'm pretty sure. Because when you're using a dehydrator, you put your hand in it all the time. You never burn your hand in a dehydrator. It's warm air, but not particularly warm. Uh, you can't put your hand over steam because it burns. That's the difference in temperature. It's burning. It destroys protein. Right? It's destroying nutrients. There's a difference. Well, it's the same thing. Like it's different. Now, whether you believe that there's any, I don't personally think the problem with cooked food is that you're destroying protein and destroying vitamins. I mean, you do that with cooking food, but I don't really think that's the problem with cooked food. I think the overall problem is these foods are not particularly suitable for our body, and we're trying to create a chemical experiment of softening them down and changing them and amending them to make them digestible, which is useful in a time when there's no other food. But in a time where we have superior foods, what I see is, I mean, what is universally seen as superior foods, fruits and vegetables, I don't think that there is a health reason or a healthy diet reason or a good reason really to prefer those foods over fruit, in my perspective, right? So I don't really think it's the cooking. That's why, as I said, if you put a banana in a dehydrator for 24 hours, I'm not going to go, oh my God, that's been overcooked. I will not eat that because it's caused the enzymes to die. That's not my perspective with raw food. Personally, I prefer, like, I mean, bananas is an exception. I think like dried bananas are probably more appealing to eat than fresh bananas. But almost every other fruit, you're not going to want dried pineapple over fresh pineapple. You're not really going to want dried mango over fresh mango. Not really. Or it doesn't make that much of a difference. It's certainly easier to carry around dried mango if you're traveling or something. But in general, just some advice to people, like, you do not have to be an influencer. You don't have to be a guru. Like, you don't have to be anything to enjoy this diet and everything. And if you're not fully ready, like, you should try and go do it for at least a couple of years before, you know, before you tell people that this is who you are, this is what you're doing, and you can post on your experiment, like you can post that you're eating more raw foods, but you don't have to be, hey, I'm 100% raw vegan and follow me, and you've only been doing it for a little while. Like, it's not. I don't think it's a great idea. But we will see this over and over, probably to the end of time. And so I just want to say about this channel and myself. Firstly, if you're looking for someone to justify or support you or tell you it's all okay to eat cooked food, that's not me. Now, there is about 6 or 7 billion people in the world that will tell you, that will give you support with that. Therefore, I don't feel like I need to give you any support with that. If you wish to do that, I'm not going to judge you for doing it. I'm not going to insult you for doing it or judge you unless you've been telling people for years you are that and you've been judging other people, you know? So, and then I might judge you. But I ate cooked food for many years. I ate cooked food even when I knew raw food was better, you know? So, I know what it's like to eat cooked food. I know what it's like. And for me, I just don't think people are being honest. Like, they can't stop eating it. And if you start eating it again, it's a struggle to stop. A real struggle to stop. Which is why I don't want to go near it. It's not really that I think it's poison and it's all this stuff. Maybe it is on some level. Maybe it is. But it's just not ideal for the body. It doesn't make me feel good. I don't feel good after it. Personally, I think without the addictive quality, I don't think people would choose cooked food over fruit. I don't think people would choose coffee over another beverage if you took out the addictive element. I don't think people would choose cigarettes over over breathing fresh air if it wasn't for the addictive element. It's the addictive element in these things that make people do them again and again and they can't stop. And it's uncontrollable. And it's harmful and it's harming people, and yet they keep doing it. And cooked food is less harmful than cigarettes and blah blah blah. Maybe. But it's for me, the idea of, like, I eat this, I don't feel good, I don't feel as good, it kind of brought me down, I don't feel myself, my digestion isn't as good, I don't feel at peace with myself. And then doing that again and again and again and again, and I can't stop. To me, that feels like addiction. And I don't want addiction like that in my life when it comes to diet. So I am dogmatic, if you want to call it that, about 100% raw, or what I see as 100% raw, and the boundaries of it. Raw is law, raw vegan, 100%, whatever you want to call it. That's my particular path and journey. That's what I want to share with you. That's why I'm inspired with the fruit festivals. It's a 100% raw vegan festival. Now, is everyone that comes 100% raw vegan? No, very few actually. Very few. judging people about it, but we're providing them 100% raw because that's the experience they want. They want a different experience than the norm. So that's my video for today, and I want to be friends with everyone. I'm happy to be friends with everyone, and and on the podcast you'll see the interviews that I do. I'm not shouting at anyone if they start to say that they still eat cooked food. I'm surprised sometimes. I don't realize some people still eat cooked food or whatever, but I kind of expect it a lot of the time now as well. And now when I'm seeing people like, yeah, I've cooked food now and again, I know what that means. It doesn't mean they have cooked food now and again. It never does. Believe me, it never ever does. I don't think it does anyway. Um, but anyway, well, thank you for watching and following the channel. Let me know what you think. Put your comments below. See you in another video. But if you come to this channel, I'm never going to tell you to eat cooked food. I'm never going to tell you like this. Your raw food diet's too dogmatic or whatever. So thank you.